she announced, "My ex is my new gynecologist. You're too insecure if that bothers you." I said, "Your health comes first." Then I found their hotel receipts and sent them to the medical board when his license was revoked during her appointment. I need to get this off my chest before I lose my mind. Yesterday at 2:47 p.m., I watched my wife's car pull into our driveway, exactly 3 hours after she'd left for her gynecologist appointment. She walked in, carrying a Starbucks cup that wasn't there when she left, her hair slightly different than this morning, and wearing the lipstick she saves for special occasions, the same lipstick she swore she grabbed by mistake this morning. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start from when this nightmare began. 6 weeks ago, my wife Rachel dropped a bomb on me over breakfast. Not metaphorically. She literally waited until I had a mouthful of scrambled eggs to announce. So, funny story. Remember Dr. Marcus Chen, my ex from medical school? He just joined the practice at Riverside Women's Health. He's going to be my new gynecologist. I nearly choked. After coughing for 30 seconds straight, I managed to ask the obvious question. "Your ex-boyfriend is going to be your gynecologist? Rachel, that's..." "What? Inappropriate? Unprofessional?" She rolled her eyes so hard I thought they might fall out. "Please, Daniel, he's a medical professional. We dated for like 6 months 12 years ago. If you're too insecure to handle your wife getting proper medical care from the best specialist in the city, that's a you problem." The best specialist in the city line should have been my first red flag. Marcus Chen had literally just started at the practice last month. How could he already be the best anything? It's not about insecurity, I tried to explain. It's about boundaries. There have to be other gynecologists. Dr. Patterson retired. Dr. Williams has a 4-month waiting list. The other doctor at the practice only works 2 days a week and doesn't take my insurance. She rattled off these excuses like she'd rehearsed them. Another red flag I missed. Besides, Marcus specializes in the exact hormonal issues I've been having. You know, the ones that have been affecting our intimate life. Low blow. We'd been having bedroom issues for months, her constantly claiming she was too tired, had headaches, or just wasn't feeling it. She'd been promising to see a specialist about potential hormonal imbalances. Now suddenly her ex-boyfriend was the answer to our problems? "Your health comes first," I said, swallowing my pride. "If he's really the best option, then okay." The smile that spread across her face was triumphant. Not relieved, not grateful. Triumphant. The first appointment was 3 weeks ago. She spent 2 hours getting ready for a medical appointment. When I raised an eyebrow at her dress, the black one with the low neckline that she wore to my company's Christmas party, she snapped. "I haven't seen Marcus in years. I don't want to look like I've let myself go. It's called having pride in your appearance, Daniel." She came back from that appointment glowing. Not metaphorically, literally glowing like she'd had the best day of her life. "He says my hormonal panels look concerning. I'll need weekly appointments for specialized treatments." Weekly appointments? That seems excessive, I ventured. "Are you a doctor now?" Marcus went to Johns Hopkins. I think he knows what he's talking about. She kissed my cheek dismissively. "Don't worry, baby. Once he fixes my hormones, our bedroom problems will be ancient history." The second appointment was when I started documenting things. She left at 10 a.m. for an 11 a.m. appointment. The clinic is 15 minutes away. When I texted at 10:45, asking if she wanted me to grab lunch for when she got back, she replied, "In waiting room now. Running behind schedule. Don't wait for me." Interesting, since when I drove by the clinic at 11:30, I had to go to Home Depot, which happened to be in that direction. Her car wasn't in the parking lot. She came home at 2 p.m. with a story about how they'd squeezed in extra tests and procedures. Her hair was curled. It had been straight when she left. When I mentioned it, she laughed. The nurse complimented my hair and offered to curl it while we waited for test results. Isn't that sweet? Sure, very sweet. By the third appointment, I'd had enough of the gaslighting. I did something I'm not proud of. I put a GPS tracker in her car. I know. Invasion of privacy, trust issues, all of that. But when your wife starts dressing like she's going to a cocktail party for medical appointments and comes back looking thoroughly disheveled, you do what you have to do. The tracker showed her car at the clinic for exactly 12 minutes. Then it went to the Marriott downtown. It stayed there for 3 hours and 17 minutes. I sat in my office, staring at that little dot on my phone screen, feeling my world crumble. But I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed more than a GPS dot. I needed proof that would stick. That's when I remembered, Marcus wasn't just her ex. He'd been her ex, who cheated on her. She'd cried for weeks when she found out he was sleeping with 3 different nurses at their hospital. The man was a serial cheater with a thing for taken women. One of those nurses had been engaged. Another was married. So I did what any desperate husband would do. I hired a private investigator. Tom Matthews looked like every PI you've ever seen in movies. Rumpled suit, permanent 5 o'clock shadow, eyes that had seen too much. But he was thorough. Within a week, he had everything. Photos of them entering the Marriott separately but leaving together. Rachel adjusting her skirt in the elevator. Marcus with his hand on her lower back. Not professional placement. Tom had a contact who worked at the hotel who confirmed the room was consistently booked under Dr. M. Chen. On the same days as her appointments. The kicker? Tom photographed a room service receipt in the hallway showing champagne and strawberries. Very medical. But Tom found something even better. Marcus was operating under a provisional license that required another physician to be physically present in the building during all patient examinations. The supervising physician had to review and co-sign all patient records within 24 hours. Not only had no one been supervising him, but the required supervisor, Dr. Harrison, had been on vacation in Europe for the past 2 weeks. Your wife isn't listed as a patient at Riverside Women's Health, Tom told me over coffee. I had a contact verify the appointment system. There's no record of any Rachel scheduled with any doctor there in the past 2 months. The receptionist even mentioned Dr. Chen only sees established patients referred by other physicians in the practice, and your wife's regular doctor retired months ago without making any referrals. The rage I felt could have powered a small city. But I stayed calm. I had one shot at this. I contacted the state medical board with a detailed complaint about Dr. Marcus Chen practicing without required supervision under his provisional license and conducting inappropriate relationships with someone posing as a patient. I included the photos, the timeline showing Dr. Harrison was out of the country during the appointments, and evidence that no patient records existed for these visits. I also noted the pattern of booking hotel rooms on the same days as supposed medical appointments. Then, I waited. Yesterday was supposed to be Rachel's 4th appointment. She left at 10 a.m., same routine. Dressed to kill, fresh perfume, that excitement in her eyes she used to have when we first dated. I worked from home, tracking her car to the Marriott, same as always. At 11:47 a.m., I got a text from an unknown number. This is Tom. Medical board and police just entered Marriott, room 412. Rachel's car was still there. At 12:15 p.m., Tom sent another text. Chen arrested, emergency suspension of license issued, your wife was present. At 12:33 p.m., Rachel called me. She was sobbing hysterically. Daniel, oh my goodness Daniel, something terrible has happened. I was at my appointment and the police showed up. They arrested Marcus. They're saying he was practicing without a license and they think I was having an affair with him. Where are you? I asked calmly. I'm at the clinic. Can you come get me? I'm too upset to drive. You're at Riverside Women's Health? Yes. Where else would I be? Interesting. Because your car's GPS shows you at the Marriott downtown. Silence. Long, dead silence. Daniel, I can explain. No need. Tom Matthews already did. Oh, and Rachel, you were never a patient at that clinic. I checked. More silence. Then, in a small voice, who's Tom Matthews? The private investigator who's been documenting your medical appointments for the past 2 weeks. The same one who gave everything to the medical board. Marcus is looking at criminal charges, by the way. Fraud, practicing without proper supervision, falsifying medical records. And you're going to be questioned about your role in this since you knew he wasn't authorized to see patients alone. She started sobbing again, but different this time. Panicked, desperate. Daniel, please, it's not what you think. Marcus and I, we reconnected and decided to commit multiple felonies together? How romantic. I'm coming home. We need to talk. Your stuff will be in the garage. I'm staying at my brother's tonight. My lawyer will contact you Monday about separation proceedings. You can't just... Actually, I can. Adultery combined with deception about medical treatment could be grounds for a more favorable settlement in the divorce. My lawyer says your involvement in his supervision violations won't help your case either. She tried calling 15 more times. Then the texts started. First apologetic, then angry, then threatening. My personal favorite was, "You ruined Marcus's career over your petty jealousy." No, Rachel. Marcus ruined his own career by thinking with his anatomy instead of his brain. And you ruined our marriage by thinking I was too stupid to catch you. The punchline to this whole thing? Tom found out Marcus has been doing this in 3 different states. Each time he starts practicing before his license transfers, starts affairs with patients, real or fake, and leaves when it gets too hot. Rachel wasn't special, she was just another Mark. Eat it. For everyone asking, yes, I'm getting tested for STDs. Already have an appointment tomorrow. And yes, I'm in therapy. Turns out having your reality constantly questioned by someone you trust really messes with your head. But I'm gonna be okay. Better than okay. I'm free. When she finally came to get her things last night, with a police escort because she was afraid of what I might do, she looked broken. Her perfect hair was a mess. Her makeup was smeared. The confident, gaslighting woman who told me I was too insecure was gone. I loved him, she said quietly as she loaded her car. He said he never stopped loving me, that seeing me again made him realize I was the one who got away. He said the same thing to the nurse in Seattle, I replied. And the pharmaceutical rep in Portland. Tom was very thorough. The last thing she said to me was, "You didn't have to destroy him." Yes, I did. Because men like Marcus don't stop until someone makes them, and women like Rachel don't learn until they lose everything. This morning, I got a call from the district attorney's office. They want me to testify about the supervision violations. Apparently, this is bigger than just Marcus and Rachel. The whole clinic might have been in on it, billing insurance for unsupervised provisional license appointments at full specialist rates while the supervising physicians were absent. Rachel is being questioned as a witness, and if she knew about the lack of supervision, she could face charges too. UP date, posted 2 hours after original post. Tom just called. The FBI is now involved. Apparently, Marcus and several other doctors have been running this scam across state lines for years. It's a whole network. Fake appointments, insurance fraud, prostitution rings disguised as medical practices. Rachel might have stumbled into something way bigger than a simple affair. Her lawyer just called me. She wants to meet. She says Rachel has information that could help my case and reduce her charges. I think I'll pass. She made her bed in that Marriott hotel room. Now she can lie in it, alone, in federal prison. I'm sitting here in my empty house, drinking coffee from the mug she bought me for our 5th anniversary. World's okayest husband, it says. Funny how okay wasn't enough for her. She needed the excitement of sneaking around with her ex, the thrill of lying to my face, the power trip of making me feel crazy for questioning her. But here's the thing about gaslighting someone. It only works if they don't have receipts. And I had all the receipts, literally. The divorce papers were filed this morning. My lawyer says it's the most clear-cut case he's ever seen. The criminal charges mean she can't even contest it. 8 years of marriage ended because she couldn't resist playing doctor with her cheating ex. The saddest part? If she'd just been honest, said she had feelings for him, wanted to explore them, I would have been hurt, but we could have divorced amicably. Instead, she chose to lie, manipulate, gaslight, and commit actual crimes. All while telling me I was too insecure. Turns out I wasn't insecure enough. Final edit. Rachel's best friend just messaged me. Apparently, Rachel knew Marcus was coming to town 3 months before she told me. She'd been talking to him for 6 months, planning this whole thing. The hormonal issues were fake from the start. She never intended to fix our bedroom problems. She was creating them to justify seeing him. I'm done with this whole mess. Time to move forward. Thanks for all the support, Reddit. You've helped more than you know. She asked me for money to cover rent, then turned around and lent it to her male best friend. I just smiled, but when she came back weeks later, looking for more, what she found instead ended everything. I'm the kind of guy who believes that in a relationship, you're a team. You help each other out when things get tough. At least that's what I thought until about a month ago. Now I realize that for some people, you're not a teammate, you're just a resource they haven't drained yet. My girlfriend, Jenna, and I had been together for about a year. We didn't live together, which was a conscious choice. I liked my space, she liked hers. It worked, or so I thought. About a month back, she called me, and she was in a total panic. She was crying, saying her boss had cut her hours at the last minute, and she was going to be short on rent. She said she was about $1,200 short, and her landlord was a real jerk who didn't accept late payments. She sounded genuinely distressed. "I don't know what I'm going to do," she said between sobs. "He's going to evict me. I'm so embarrassed to even ask, but could you possibly help me out? I'll pay you back with my next 2 paychecks, I swear. I'm not made of money, but I'm careful with it. I had savings, and I cared about her." The thought of her getting kicked out of her apartment made my stomach turn. Of course, I was going to help. "Don't worry about it," I told her. "I've got you. We're a team, remember?" I transferred the $1,200 to her account that same day. The relief in her voice was huge. She couldn't thank me enough. I felt good about it. I felt like I'd done the right thing for someone I loved. Fast forward about a week. I was out for a beer with a mutual friend, Mark. We were just catching up when he mentioned Jenna's best friend, a guy named Leo. I was never a huge fan of Leo. He always seemed like one of those guys who never quite grew up, always chasing some get-rich-quick scheme or a new passion that required expensive gear. Mark said, "Man, Leo is lucky to have a friend like Jenna. Did you see that new camera he bought? He's been wanting it for months. Told me Jenna floated him the cash so he could finally get it. Must have been over $1,000. I just sat there holding my beer and my brain kind of short-circuited. I tried to keep my face neutral. "Oh, really? That's cool. When did he get that?" Mark took a sip of his beer. "I think like last Tuesday or Wednesday. He was posting pictures with it all over his social media. The same day I sent Jenna the rent money. It all clicked into place. The sob story, the panic, the exact amount. It wasn't for rent. It was for Leo. She had played me. She took money I worked hard for, money she claimed she desperately needed to keep a roof over her head, and handed it right over to her deadbeat best friend so he could buy a new toy. I felt a surge of anger so hot it almost made me dizzy. But I pushed it down. I wasn't going to explode. I wasn't going to call her screaming. What good would that do? She'd just cry, make up another lie, and turn it around on me for not trusting her. No, this required a different approach. When I saw her that weekend, I didn't say a word about it. I just smiled. She was all smiles too, telling me how her landlord was so relieved she paid on time. I just nodded along, listening to the lies pour out of her mouth. And in that moment, I knew we were done. The relationship was over. She just didn't know it yet. I decided right then that I was going to get my money back. Not just the money, but I was going to get the truth out in the open. She used me, and she used my trust as a weapon against me. The only way to deal with someone like that is to let them walk right into a trap of their own making. I knew, as sure as I was sitting there, that she'd be back for more money eventually. People like Jenna and Leo are always in a crisis. Their lives are a revolving door of self-inflicted emergencies. All I had to do was be patient and wait, and when she came back, I'd be ready. Update 1. It's been about 5 weeks since the whole rent money incident. For the past month, I've been playing a very careful game. I didn't pull away completely, but I subtly started to change the dynamic between us. When she'd suggest going out for a nice dinner, I'd say I was trying to save money and suggest we cook at home. When she'd drop hints about some new shoes she wanted, I'd conveniently change the subject. I was slowly turning off the financial tap, making myself seem less like an open wallet. I needed her to believe I was just being frugal, not that I was onto her. As I predicted, the financial problems in her life started to pile up. Without my casual funding of our dates and her constant funding of Leo's lifestyle, her budget was clearly getting tight. I could see the stress building in her. And then last Tuesday, I got the call I had been waiting for. It was Jenna, and she sounded even more frantic than last time. "You are not going to believe my luck," she started, her voice already shaky. "My car just completely died on the highway. I had to get it towed, and the mechanic just called. The transmission is shot. It's going to be at least $900 to fix. I don't have it. I literally don't know how I'm going to get to work. It was almost comical. The second verse of the same song. She hit all the right notes. The sudden disaster, the specific amount of money needed, the helplessness. She finished with the line I knew was coming. I hate to ask you again. I'm so embarrassed. But could you possibly help me out? I'm desperate. I took a breath. Showtime. Wow, that's terrible, I said, putting just the right amount of concern in my voice. Of course I want to help. This is serious. Listen, come over to my place tonight around 7. We'll sit down, figure it out, and I'll write you a check. She was so relieved she was practically crying. Oh my God, thank you. You're literally saving my life. Don't worry about it, I said. That's what I'm here for. As soon as I hung up with her, I made my second call. I found Leo's number in my phone from a group chat we'd been in months ago. I sent him a text. Hey Leo, it's Alex, Jenna's boyfriend. Quick question for you. Do you still have that camera you bought last month? The really nice one? He texted back a minute later. Yeah man, it's awesome. Why? I replied, great. I'm thinking of getting into photography and I'd love to see it. Maybe get your opinion before I buy one. Would you be able to swing by my place tonight around 7:15? I'll buy you a beer for your trouble. He jumped at the chance to show off his gear and get a free beer. For sure, dude. See you then. The trap was set. That evening, I was calm. I felt like I was watching a movie that I had written and directed. Jenna arrived right at 7, a worried look on her face. She came in and gave me a hug. Thank you so much for doing this. You're the best. Of course, I said, leading her to the living room. Have a seat. Let's talk about the car. She launched into the whole story again, adding extra details about the tow truck driver and the shady mechanic. I just nodded along, letting her dig the hole a little deeper. Right on cue, at 7:15, my doorbell rang. Jenna looked confused. Are you expecting someone? Just a friend? I said, getting up to answer the door. I opened it, and there was Leo, camera bag slung over his shoulder, a big grin on his face. Hey man, what's up? His smile vanished the second he saw Jenna sitting on my couch. Her jaw literally dropped. The look of pure panic in her eyes was exactly what I had been waiting a month to see. I closed the door behind him. Leo, thanks for coming. Jenna, look who it is. What a coincidence. They both just stared at each other, then at me. They knew something was wrong. I walked back to the center of the room and looked at them both. I didn't raise my voice. I just stated the facts. Jenna, you came here tonight because you need $900 to fix your car. That's a tough spot to be in. Especially since you're still paying me back the $1,200 I lent you for rent last month. I paused, letting that hang in the air. The thing is, I continued, turning to Leo. I was talking to Leo here, and he just bought this amazing new camera. Cost about $1,200, I think. He bought it the same day you were having your rent emergency, Jenna. Jenna's face went white. Leo looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him whole. I kept going, my voice still perfectly level. So, I was thinking, we're all friends here. We can solve this problem together. Jenna needs money for her car. And Leo, you have the $1,200 that Jenna lent you. The money I lent her for rent. So the simplest solution is for you to just pay her back right now. Then she can pay the mechanic, and I don't have to lend her any more money. Everybody wins. The silence in the room was deafening. They were both completely and utterly caught. Jenna finally found her voice, and it was shaky with rage. What is this? Did you set this up? Are you checking up on me? No, I said calmly. I'm just connecting the dots. You lied to me. You took money you claimed you needed to avoid being homeless, and you gave it to your friend to buy a toy. That's not a partnership. That's not a team. That's just using me. And I'm done being used. Leo started stammering. Dude, I didn't know. She told me you guys were fine with it, that you wanted to help me out. Jenna whipped her head around to look at him. You told me you were going to pay me back in a week. It was beautiful. They immediately turned on each other, the lies unraveling in real time. He was a mooch and she was a liar, and they were both furious that their little scheme had been exposed. I let them argue for another minute, then I held up my hand. Enough. I don't care about the details of your arrangement. All I care about is that my involvement is over. Jenna, we're done. Don't call me, don't text me, and Leo, enjoy the camera. You both deserve each other. I pointed to the door. Both of you, get out of my apartment. Now. They left, not even looking at each other on the way out. As I closed the door behind them, I felt nothing but relief. The drama, the lies, the disrespect, it was all over. And it had ended on my terms. Final update. It's been about 3 months since I kicked Jenna and Leo out of my apartment. I figured I owed you guys a final update on how everything shook out. The silence from her was immediate and absolute, but the consequences of her actions took a little longer to fully bloom. First off, after that night, I blocked her number and all of her social media accounts. I wanted a clean break, no chance for her to try and spin some new sob story. A couple of weeks later, though, I started getting texts from her friends, mostly her best friend Amy. They were all the same. Jenna is a mess. You were so cruel to her. You humiliated her. She made a mistake. You need to talk to her. I only responded to one, to Amy. I wrote back, Jenna lied to me and took $1,200 under false pretenses. She prioritized her friend's new toy over her own financial security and our relationship's trust. What happened was not cruelty. It was a consequence. Please don't contact me about her again. The messages stopped after that. But the part I know you're waiting for is about the money. I wasn't gonna just let $1,200 go. It wasn't about the amount, it was about the principle of the thing. She didn't just take my money, she stole my trust. So I took a half day off from work and went down to the county courthouse. I filed a small claims case against her for the $1,200. In the filing, I was factual. I attached a copy of the bank transfer from my account to hers. I attached a printout of the text messages where she asked for rent money and promised to pay me back. I even attached a screenshot of one of Leo's public social media posts where he thanked an unnamed angel for the cash for his new camera, posted the day after I sent the money. The evidence was straightforward. A court date was set for about a month later. She was served the papers. I honestly didn't know if she would show up. Part of me almost hoped she would, just to see what kind of story she would try to tell a judge. She didn't show up. I stood there in the courtroom, presented my evidence to the judge, and because she wasn't there to contest it, I won a default judgment for the full amount plus my court filing fees. I now had a legally binding document that said she owed me the money. Getting the money from a judgment isn't always easy, but her actions made it simpler. I knew where she worked. I filed for a wage garnishment. It took a few weeks for the paperwork to go through, but then it started. A certain percentage of her paycheck was automatically sent to me every 2 weeks until the debt was paid in full. There was nothing she could do about it. Every payday, she got a little reminder of the consequences of her lie. As for her life, I've heard bits and pieces through the grapevine. Her friendship with Leo completely imploded, just as I expected. He never paid her back, and once her personal bank, me, was no longer open for business, he lost interest in being her best friend. He was a user, plain and simple. Without my help, and with a chunk of her paycheck being garnished to pay me back, Jenna's financial situation got really bad. The car trouble she had invented became a real problem when she couldn't afford other repairs that came up. About a month ago, Mark told me that she had to break her lease, pay a massive fee, and move back in with her parents in another state. So in the end, her lie became her reality. She cried to me about the fake threat of losing her apartment, and just a few months later, she actually did lose her apartment because of the real consequences of that lie. She lost her boyfriend, her best friend, her financial independence, and her place to live. All for a camera. I got my last garnishment payment about a week ago. The full $1,200 plus fees. It's not even about the money. It's about the fact that I refused to be a victim. I didn't yell. I didn't rage. I just calmly and legally held her accountable. She thought I was a pushover, an easy mark. She found out I'm not. She learned that actions have consequences, and sometimes those consequences come with court-ordered paperwork. And me? I'm doing great. My savings account is back where it should be, and my life is free of drama. Best $1,200 I ever spent. It was the cost of a valuable lesson, and the price of getting a liar out of my life for good.